The Morgan Report with David Morgan.
David Morgan of themorganreport.com for the week ending 24 February 2023. First up this time is from Mining MX. Amplat says uptick in load shedding jeopardizes platinum group metals output guidance by 5%. I'm not going to read the whole article, but Anglo American Platinum is a big powerhouse in South Africa. I have been talking about platinum for some time, as you know. I got in, luckily, skillfully at $850. It's gone up to about over $1,000. Now it's back off to $950. I still like it for a lot of reasons, and we will be writing a platinum feature in the upcoming Morgan Report premium service, and it'll be published first Monday of every month, which will be the 6th of March, 2023. From Reuters, gold hits 2-month low as Fed rates seem higher for longer. And I won't even re-explain what I say every time we talk about interest rates, the real meaning of them. Certainly in the short term, it can have an impact. But why would you do that nasty gold that pays no interest when you can get interest that buffers the true inflation rate? That's partially true, somewhat tongue-in-cheek. The point being is as these governments continue to do nefarious things with each other and to the publics at large globally, you will see more and more demand for safe havens, which is primarily the precious metals. Slightly different look at the silver market. We don't talk about much. This is Mina FN. Silver is the new black, ? Demand for silver jewelry is at historic high. It's interesting between the two metals when we have a bull market, extreme bull market, or gold goes ballistic, is it doesn't seem to impact the silver jewelry industry that much. If we have a real economic downturn and everyone's just holding on their cash, it can and it has in the past. What's interesting here is that even under these interesting economic times, you got to remember jewelry in most of the Asian countries and even in a lot of the Latin American countries, not so much, is looked at as money directly. In other words, a silver bracelet or a silver necklace or a ring or a gold chain or whatever in the Asian countries is looked at as not only wealth, but something you would actually take off and barter with. Does that happen all the time? No. Is it in every mainstream store? No. Almost everything has been westernized. However, that part of the culture has not gone away completely, whereas you don't think of that at all in, let's say, North America, Canada, US, that type of thing. This is straight from PV Magazine, source that very few people question. Not to get it 100% perfect, but they are probably the most accurate as far as what's going on in the silver market versus photovoltaics. And this is, I will say, my friend, because he is Mike Dorenzo of the Silver Institute, and talks about what will happen in the silver market this year. Certainly, you can look this up. Go to pvmagazine.com and search for silver price outlook and the photovoltaic industry impact. Well, I won't read the article. You can play it here. What I do want to comment on is what went on recently after the date of this article, February 16th, at an investment forum called Metals Investors Forum, and I'll bring that up next. So if you guide your browser over to the YouTube channel and type in Metals Investors Forum, it will bring up the website. This is what it looks like. And what I want to bring your attention to is this post here at the top called MIF Silver, February 2023 full show. This is for free on the internet. It was a few silver companies and Peter Croft, Chen Lin, and myself for the first half hour, 10 minutes each, 10, 20, 30. So you don't have to watch 2 hours. And it was Peter started off on his silver lecture, then Chen, and then myself. Chen has included me and others in the silver community in a back and forth on the photovoltaic usage. And Chen is correct. The amount of silver that's used in photovoltaics has been basically underreported. And this is sort of like the government doing an adjustment to their figures. Here's the figures, and the market does a certain thing, and then a month or two later they come back and say, well, we're going to adjust these, or seasonally adjust these, or whatever. Point being is we're probably using more silver in the photovoltaics than what metals focus has led to the public. So that's all outlined in this lecture. I also wrote about it in our premium service after the silver symposium here last year because Chen made the same point, and that's going to lead into the next article. Same magazine, PV Magazine. This is also a friend, Matt Watson, and he was introduced to me from Mike Dorenzo. So thank you both. And this again goes back to the article, and the headline on this, of course, is Solar Sector to Slim Down on Silver. The industry uses the word thrifting. You've heard me say that before if you've been with me for very long. All it means is what happens in all industries, really. If you can get more bang for the buck, you will do it in business. So in other words, if you can get the same electrical output, kilowatts per hour, using less silver, you're going to do that. And so if you're using half as much silver today as you were 10 years ago, then you're doing yourself a great favor because silver probably cost more than a decade ago. Well, it's probably flat, but point being is that you're using less silver per panel. And it's been thrifted about 400%. In other words, for today's kilowatts per hour coming out of a solar panel, it uses about 1/4 the amount of silver it used about 20, 25 years ago. Can they do more of it? Possibly. The point I'm bringing up that I haven't stated yet is that Chen Lin has a much different view than what I'm outlining. His view is that the new technology solar panels, will use silver in layers. So best analogy I can think of, not a good one maybe, is a layer cake. I just think of those layers being, 1/4 inch thick and having, 3, 4, 5 of them. I'm not sure how many. And every one of those layers uses silver because the new panel has top layer gathers, light energy, sun energy, and then the panel underneath it gets it, and the panel underneath that gets it. And I don't think they're like 10. I think they're 3 or 4, but I'm not sure. Point is that those type of panels that will produce more kilowatts per hour in a given space will actually be using more silver, not less. So this is something very few people know about. Right now, the solar industry is the photovoltaic amounts to about 13% of the silver market. And if you follow my Twitter feed, I've posted more than once how much silver it would take to go photovoltaic across the planet, and the point is it can't be done. There's just not enough silver to do that. And this week I thought I'd start off with finish with something a little different. Unfortunately, I didn't date this, but this goes back a long time ago, and you'll realize that when I state the prices in this letter. But this is something I got from a floor trader years ago. I titled it Confirmation from the Comex. Dear Mr. Morgan, I enjoyed your newsletter excerpt of February 12th, but I don't know what year, in which I found the Kitco website. You stated perfectly some key reason for silver's problems in getting out of its own way, and your call for further weakness was prescient. I guess I'm part of the problem. I've traded Comex futures actively from the pit for over 15 years. Over the years, the amount of futures contracts that were traded has surely dwarfed the actual physical market, making it difficult for silver to manifest its true fundamentals. As you alluded, it's Groundhog Day again on the floor. Over the past month, I watched one fund accumulate an eye-popping long position, and I followed its progress as best as I could through the open interest and commitment figures. When prices started stripping away from last week's test of the 485 to 490 level, I could hardly believe my eyes when I saw early evidence that this fund was starting to sell as well. I went across the pit to a trader whom I knew was trying to stick with this long when I said, I've got bad news for you. That selling you see over there, that may take 3 weeks. The fund sold heavily all last week. The usual bank traders were sopping it up, secretly relieved, I think, that prices had failed to break into key ground they could not control. Younger traders asked me how these funds can keep getting chopped up like this. They don't realize that a 30-cent drop in silver is a minor inconvenience compared to the strong positions most of these guys have in gold and crude. As you know, the banks will continue to play puppet master as long as the silver game remains quote-unquote closed. The banks know the upper parameters of the fund's buying power. The banks know when the funds have reversed themselves into an untenable short position. It will take new players to get the Bill Murray silver market out of this loop. Certainly, investment demand is the wild card, and banks and recurrent short sellers cannot control. Silver will be called lower on Tuesday morning, and although I'm a bull, I'll be getting short on the bell. There is no short-term success in getting in the fund's way. Thanks again for your great insight, a Comex floor trader. This came up, this letter. I don't save much hard copy anymore, but I've saved that one for obvious reasons. It's been going on a long time. It's sub $5 silver when he wrote me that. And the same game has continued through most levels. In other words, the $10 level. And the levels, I'd have to look at a chart to name them off, but basically the same idea happens over and over. It just happens at a higher level. And then, of course, when it can get crushed to a massive level, going from, say, the $50 level hit the end of April 2011 all the way down to 30-something. That was a $20 drop, and it stayed there for about a year. Regardless, it keeps being moved around those parameters that I just read you. So I don't want you to forget it. But doesn't mean you shouldn't invest. In fact, as he said in that letter so many years ago, that there's parts of it that banks cannot control. We know there's a lot less silver in the registered category than has been in quite some time. We know the Comex and the LVMA continue to be drained. And we know above and beyond anything how precarious the financial system is at this point in time. And the run to gold really started. I think I made enough of a case for that. And that will spill over in the silver market at some point. Have a great weekend. I will be back with you next week with the Weekly Perspective. This is David Morgan of the Morgan Report.